This is Julio's Corner, my corner of the internet, where I talk about whatever is on my mind. I'll mostly talk about stuff I've watched, read, or listened to, but I may get introspective at times and reflect on my life or on society at large. This episode is being recorded on Monday, July 21st, 2025. And welcome back. I missed an episode, or a week, I should say. And so because of that, so much news has happened. So we're just going to get right into it. We're going to start off with a recap of news from the 8th through the 14th. So first off, I was going to try some levity by playing Flight of the Bumblebees as I was singing this, but I tried a run through of that and it was an epic fail. So we're going to not do that. So anyway, measles cases reach a 33-year high thanks to the administration of RFK and his anti-vax policies. Because of the flooding of the Central Texas camps, there are currently 120 dead, 28 of them being children, and 160 are still missing. We later found out that during that time, Kristi Noem took 72 hours to send in the search and rescue team to aid Texas in their efforts. And the reason for that is that during that weekend, she was busy on social media choosing a new governor portrait. Her defense, when questioned about it on Monday or Tuesday, was that states are older than the Constitution and federalism matters. So that means that state rights matter and they should handle their affairs. Interestingly, though, that doesn't seem to apply to California because Trump did federalize the National Guard to aid ICE with immigration issues. Anyway, to add insult to injury, she made a rule that no actions over $100,000 can be executed without her approval, which of course added to that 72-hour delay. Meanwhile, Texas officials have been fumbling with the press in handling this disaster, and instead of putting more energy to rescue efforts, they are instead working on redistricting efforts so that they can ensure Texas remains a red state during the midterms. The US dollar has dropped to its lowest levels since it got off the gold standard in the 70s. And because of Trump's trade hostilities with tariff threats, other nations are seriously considering leaving the US dollar and looking at BRICS as an alternative and also joining China in trade relations. The teachers union, NEA members, also endorse cutting ties with the ADL over the Gaza war. Meanwhile, Musk has succeeded in making Grok into Mecha Hitler and is now adding it into his Tesla cars. The Democratic leaders are still reticent to endorse Mamdani for mayor of New York City. Interesting, though, because whenever it was a different candidate that the majority were not in favor of, they always told you to vote blue no matter who. Interesting, that doesn't seem to apply to Mamdani. And lastly, for that recap, the U.S. military troops and federal immigration officers made a brief but mighty show of force on Monday at the Los Angeles Park in a neighborhood dubbed the Ellis Island of the West Coast for its large immigration population. So that's the recap of the week of July 8th through the 14th. And now on to the news of this past week. And so let's go ahead and get with the music. Okay, so the mainstream opinion on Israel is changing. The New York Times is now publishing dissenting voices in their editorial page section, which is a good sign of some change happening, at least from the current, which was that anything pro-Palestine is considered anti-Semitic. Meanwhile, Israel attacks near the presidential palace in Damascus, Syria. I found out later that apparently Netanyahu was about to go into court for, his crimes and other such things. And what else can he do to save his skin? But hey, let's start more hostilities. And as soon as that happened, court was adjourned, and that case is being delayed again. And he keeps running Israel. Meanwhile, in more dreadful news, Supreme Court is allowing Trump to slash the Department of Education, because that's all we need is to make people dumber. Because again, remember, what was it? The thing from 1984? Education is ignorance is strength. And in order to make some of the Doge cuts a little more legit, Congress rolls back $9 billion in public media funding and foreign aid. So NPR and PBS will be, they will be severely affected by this. And sadly, rural states and towns and whatnot that rely on public radio, because that is their only means of communication, because they don't even have good internet over there, they're just going to be without those means of communication, because again, ignorance is strength. Let's see. A revelation by El Salvador to the UN that they do not have ownership of the prisoners that the U.S. sends to them was released to the public, because when they sent when the president sent this Garcia, I forget his full name, Abrego Garcia, when they sent him over there, even though the courts found he was innocent and said that the president should let him go, the president was like, well, it's out of my hands. He's already in El Salvador. There's nothing I can do. We have no control of what happens in El Salvador. Well, people had since then, well, we can't expect the U.S. to do anything. We're going to go to plead our case to the UN. And then the UN questioned El Salvador. So then in this court ruling, El Salvador was like, hey, yeah, we our hands are clean if this is fair. All we do is rent out the space for the U.S. We do not have any ownership of the people that they bring to us. We just rent out the space. They're still running that area on their own. So once again, they're lying. So anyway, CBS, in another move to kiss Trump's ass, on top of that $16 million bribe, they have also now canceled the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. They've canceled the Late Show in its entirety, because Colbert has been very anti-Trump on his show and has made a lot of jokes at his expense. And this president, who believes in free speech, apparently, except when it applies to criticism of him and his thin skin, he lashes out at people. And CBS really wants this Skydance approval merger to happen. Skydance was the name of the company. I think I said Sky Night in the last episode, so it's called Skydance. So they really want to get this merger done. So as another favor to Trump, to stroke that ego of his, they're also canceling the Late Show. So once his contract expires in spring of 2026 or summer of 2026, that'll be the end of the show, which Trump proudly bragged about it on the internet, and now he's aiming at other people. And who else has been saying bad things about me that I need to get rid of? So now I thought this was a new low for CBS, but then on the Majority Report that I'm a fan of, Sam Seder also reminded me that in the 70s, there was a very popular comedy show on CBS called The Smothers Brothers, that was very anti-Vietnam War. And because of their anti-Vietnam War stance, Nixon, was upset about it because it's making him look bad. So President Nixon at the time, he complained to the bosses of CBS, and CBS canceled the Smothers Brothers. So in reality, what I thought was a new low for CBS, it's actually the standard. And I'm going to get rid of this thing that I thought would be helpful for me. One moment. Okay, so I'm back. Where was I? Sam Seder reminded me about CBS's return to form. It's not really a change of pace. It's what they've always been. They've always been suck ups to people of power. Let's see. Okay, so there's a developing story about the tariffs that Trump is doing. He's currently doing like a 50% tariff against Brazil. And the only reason why he's doing that is to pressure Brazil to free the current criminal on trial, Jair Bolsonaro, who tried to stage a coup against the current administration. Because, birds of a feather, that's what Trump did back in January 6th, and he got away with it. So it's only fair that he wants his friends to also get away with it in other countries as well. But of course, Brazil is his own sovereign nation. They're refusing to bow to his demands, and in fact are like, okay, well, you actually make a profit from us because we import more of your stuff than we export to you. So if you want to play this tariff game, we can do the same, and we can be more self-sufficient than you. And so they're going to now do tariffs on their stuff and, fight back. So now, let me get to the ICE portion of the program, and then I'll finally get into the meaty, well, not the meaty, but the gossipy stuff that makes life a little less dreadful. So here we go, back to ICE. There's been reports that trans people have been disappearing from ICE records against congressional orders. So out of the people that they're grabbing, anyone that's trans apparently are even disappearing from the records. So there's no what's the word I'm looking for? Traces of them. You can't follow what's going on with them. Meanwhile, thanks to ICE rounding up people, not just criminals, but because they're trying to hit that quota of 3,000 immigrants a day, the private prison industry is making mass profits because that's really the whole game behind this. On top of added suffering and being racist against non-white people, you're also making money for your private prison people. House Democrat is calling for Kristi Noem to resign over the lies that Kristi Noem has been saying, like, remember the cannibal immigrant, and saying like, yeah, we're just grabbing criminals, when in reality you're grabbing mothers and children, and people are dying under these unjust conditions. In a new added move to further their obfuscating of their illegal actions, ICE lawyers are now hiding their names in the immigration court. So whenever they have like these trials done over Zoom, the judge will identify himself. He'll identify the lawyer and the of the immigrant and the immigrant, and then the lawyer for ICE, I guess the plaintiff in this case, they won't say a name. They'll just say the department, which just furthers muddies the waters and delegitimizes these court proceedings, because it's not really a fair trial. It totally is a kangaroo court. Not to mention these National Guard courts that are popping up, these pop-ups where they're like, okay, we're gonna make you today's judge for these trials, and you're just gonna rubber stamp these the deportations, and it's not even a fair trial anymore. And some slightly good news with ICE because of these illegal actions. 2/3 of the Department of Justice unit defending Trump's policies in court have since quit, because they're like, enough is enough. We're putting up with too much illegal action, so we have to leave. So things don't get better from here. So I mentioned Grok Mecha Hitler in the week before, and how after succeeding in making Grok Mecha Hitler, he decided to, okay, great, this is the perfect AI for our cars because we're just going to be, we just want to continue pushing white supremacy everywhere. Um, Now that it is a white supremacist AI chatbot, Grok has also gotten a military contract, which is just like, can can we possibly be more cartoonishly evil? How is the government? How there's just no hiding it. I mean, you're claiming that we're not racist, and yet we're gonna have racist AI not only in these private cars that get government subsidies thanks to Doge. We're also gonna give it to the military, which just, I mean, Onion is having a, how can Onion's going to struggle to make good, you can't make it any more satire than the reality of it. June inflation, the June inflation print reveals that the tariffs that Trump promised was going to help bring in more money to the U.S. and make life easier for us. Of course, for those who have common sense, this has finally shown that that is not the case. We are having the opposite effect. Prices are going up. People are the ones bearing the burden of said prices, and because because employment is also down. There's a lot of unemployment with all the job cuts and tariffs preventing uh, manufacturer companies from building plants here in the U.S. because of those tariffs. They decided, well, we'll just build elsewhere where it's cheaper. There's less jobs, um, so less money is being made in the workforce. More people are unemployed, and now on top of that, we're paying more for stuff that we didn't pay for before, like on produce and things like that. And this is all thanks to Trump's tariffs. So, yeah, there's that. Uh, Not really entertaining news today, but so Zoran went to DC, and he finally conceded on, you know, on the stance that he's going to finally now discourage the phrase of globalize the Intifada, even though he's never said it himself. Um, and he has instead said that he sees both sides of the argument because he knows what globalize the Intifada actually means to the people who say it, the people under the oppression of the Israeli government, the Palestinians. When they say globalize the Intifada, this, he knows what that really means, that they're asking for liberation. And also the Jews in the Warsaw ghettos of World War II said something similar to that. The Intifada, the word Intifada was used because they were being persecuted by Nazis. Fast forward to now, where the Israeli Jews are the new Nazis persecuting these poor Palestinians, and this phrase means they want to be liberated from the oppression that they're currently suffering. So even though that's the true meaning of that phrase, because Israeli propaganda has weaponized that phrase to mean anti-Semitism, and so some Jews believe this propaganda, supposedly. At least that's what the messaging is on mainstream media, because they're always asking him on this. Every time he's on camera, they always have to bring it up, so it must mean something bad. So he's going to say, even though I see both sides, because of how it hurts these people's feelings, even though it's under a false premise, I am discouraging the phrase globalize the Intifada, and so I will I will be more proactive in discouraging that phrase, which is, you shouldn't do that. I am against this new stance, because now that your original efforts of like not buying into the media spin of these things about you being anti-Semitic, and pushing your own narrative, and saying that you're focusing on economic issues and on making New York more affordable. By now giving into this thing, they're going to keep pushing you. Now they're saying, no, that's not enough. You need to condemn it. And then, I mean, it's going to get to the point where, and I'm being hyperbolic, but it's going to get to the point where, like, you can't be a Muslim. You're going to have to say being Muslim is bad. I am no longer Muslim. That's what it's going to get to. It's going to get to some ridiculous point at that point that you're going to have to bleach your skin and say I'm not Muslim anymore. Like, because that's how it is. Because that's what they want to do. They just want to keep. Now that you're putting a chink in your armor by giving into that whole talking point that globalizing Antifada can be considered a bad saying, instead of saying that it doesn't mean that, like, which is what you have been saying. By now acknowledging that, yeah, I can see why people might think of it as a bad thing, so I'm going to go against it. They're going to be like, no, you need to condemn it 100%, and you also need to visit Israel, and you need to be wearing a yarmulke, and you can't be Muslim anymore. That's where it's going to go to. It's going to eventually get to that point. And so I'm a little upset with Mamdani because of that. So now some good news, a little bit. I mean, not a lot, because there's all that suffering that's happening is not going to go away. It's still happening as I'm reading these headlines and talking about it. But hey, at least we got some good news out of it. So Trump went to the FIFA Club World Cup last weekend. And as he was walking on the pitch, he got booed. So, yay for that. He's no longer as popular as, well, not that he really was, but he is publicly being booed on stage wherever he goes now. So more so than in just certain places, like, that are considered, more democratic. Like going to a Hamilton concert, things like that. Like, this FIFA is a little more, it's a global thing. So even there, it was pretty much unanimous, the boos he was getting. Despite that, though, at the end, when Chelsea won the event, he still, because he has such an ego, he went on stage to be part of the photo shoot for Chelsea. And no matter how many times people were hinting, all right, time for you to get off the stage, he stayed there in the middle of the shot, and he took the trophy, and he even grabbed a medal and put it inside his breast pocket, because this guy, he's just a shameless criminal. So it doesn't matter what situation he puts himself in, he still has to do something evil and selfish. And in this case, he ruined Chelsea's celebration moment and even stole from them. And from FIFA. And FIFA, of course, they love dictators. The head of FIFA has always said, dictators make things run more efficiently. So I'm all for dictators. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And because the World Cup is going to be in the U.S. Next year, he's just letting those things slide. So at least, though, he got booed there. So there's that. And now this whole Epstein scenario is really causing Trump to crash out. And that's the one chink in his armor that he can't seem to bounce off of. Because no matter how many times you talk about his sexual allegations, his real estate scams, his meme coin scams, his absolute corruption of getting a $400 million jet, or getting hotel deals at foreign countries that he just all of a sudden makes favorable judgments to, or deals with them, because it's flooding his pockets. Forget the fact that he went to play golf during the whole Texas disaster. None of those things seem to affect him from his base. Seems to be okay with all of that. Any racist tirades, if he tells you that the immigrants are eating your cats, they're eating your dogs, they're eating your pets, doesn't matter. He could say, I'm going to grab you by the pussy. Doesn't matter. He could tell people, if I was on Fifth Avenue and I shot someone right there, people would still cheer me. Doesn't matter. Everything is all okay on Trump, on the Trump train, except Epstein. So during his whole campaign, he kept pushing, we need to get the Epstein files out. We need to push the Epstein files because the Democrats are guilty and blah blah blah. Elon Musk was on that whole bandwagon about the Epstein files are going to incriminate the Democrats. There was this whole thing on Twitter of we're going to release the Epstein files and we're going to get prominent Democratic leaders incriminated with this, and of course nothing came of it. But he still ran with this whole campaign promise of releasing the files once he got in office. Well, he's in office, and they haven't been released. And then Trump tried to say, through Pam Bondi, they finally said there are no files, that they never existed. So immediately, that's where the crash out began. It went from, we're going to release the files, we're looking at the files, we're going to release them, they're on my desk, to they don't exist, there's no files. And then he's like, okay, there are files, but it's a hoax, they're not real. And then, they're a hoax because it's the Democrats who made them. It's Hillary Clinton. It's Barack Obama. It's the Clintons. It's James Comey. All of them. They're all in it together. They typed it all up and all this nonsense. So that's why we're not going to release them, because it's all lies. Anything about me in these files are lies. Let's not try to remember that you were actually friends with Epstein during the 90s. Like, there's video footage of you hanging out with him at parties, that you had let him, have business in Mar-a-Lago, that you were on his plane like 7 times or something to that number. You, along with Clinton and Bill Gates and Prince Andrew and other notable figures in politics and in places of power. And there's like birthday cards that are coming out, and more footage of him with Epstein, and not to mention this guy, something Wolf, who was going to write the biography on Epstein, who said in an interview that, Epstein actually showed me pictures of Trump with all these women of undefinable age around him, and laughing at him because he had a stain in his pants and things of that nature. And there's of course footage of you in your beauty pageants with teenagers, women of teenagers, and you're part of the judges, and you bragged about how you were to go to the dressing rooms while they're undressed and looking at them naked and whatnot. Like, there's all this evidence that can paint quite a picture of sordidness and things of that nature. So this is the one thing that because the QAnon people, the pedophile chasers in that right wing section of MAGA that are very crazy about trying to hunt down pedophilia for whatever reason. This is the one thing that they're able to bite, to not let go. So there's at least that happening that's affecting Trump mentally. He keeps crashing out on his Truth Social websites, talking about how it's not real, and he's trying to change the narrative to make it seem like the Democrats are the ones who created this whole narrative. They're the ones who wrote up a script that this never existed, but it did, but they did it, and so on. And this is like the Russia situation. And Ro and some Republicans try to get a proposal to release the files, but the House Republicans blocked it. And not only did the House Republicans, all towed the line and blocked the release of the files, they also blocked even the ability to discuss the files. So not only do they not want the files to be released, but they don't want you to even bring it up on in the House floor anymore. That's the rundown of all the news. It's just so much, and it's so overwhelming. And I thought I could make a better episode than what I did, but all I can do is summarize it to the best of my knowledge, the headlines. Um, so a little bit of random stuff now that I got all of that out the way, and we're at the 30-minute mark, so pretty much plus or minus. Um, there's this movie on Netflix called K-pop Demon Hunters, and I'm a fan. I have to say, I am a fan of K-pop Demon Hunters. The music is great. I started with the music because it was on. I didn't know anything about this show or whatever, but I'm a fan of K-pop music, so I listened to the music first, and it sounded great. And so I decided, well, why not watch this movie? And it was a balm to my soul, and especially because, as the news I read shows, we're not in a happy place. The world is just dark and miserable, and it's just pain and suffering and death all around. And yeah, man, life isn't. I mean, personally, my life isn't directly affected by all these things. Like, I'm not getting dragged away by ICE, at least not yet. I work an overnight shift, so maybe that helps because when I'm out, it's pretty much desolate. It's quiet, and there's not much activity going on, not much police around to look around and stuff. So maybe that might be one of the reasons why I'm safe. I'm also in New York City, so I mean that could be helping me. But I'm getting more paranoid as time goes by, because U.S. citizens, even if you're a U.S. citizen, you're not safe because there's this one case where this disabled veteran, this Hispanic disabled veteran who was playing. He wasn't playing. He's a security guard, or he was working security at one of these farms that got raided in California, and he got grabbed by ICE. And even though he's telling them, hey, I'm a citizen and I'm also a US veteran, I fought for this country, I fought for the freedoms that you are now violating. Like, I served my time, and even that guy wasn't safe. Why? Because he's a Hispanic, and he looks Hispanic. He doesn't look like JD Vance or Donald Trump. He doesn't look Anglo-Saxon white. He looks like he looks Hispanic. So if he's not safe, and he has a perfect California American accent, so if that guy's not safe, I'm definitely not safe either. I mean, I can pass for white, but I can also pass for what I am, Hispanic. Even though I'm a citizen, New Yorker, born and raised. But I am in a blue state. But then again, that guy, California, is also a blue state. So there are no guarantees. So anyway, with all that happening, and struggling financially and trying to make ends meet, K-pop Demon Hunters was a nice source of escapism. It's a great movie. Has a great story. The music is amazing. It's phenomenal. The music also carries the story and helps tell the story. It adds to it. The artwork by Sony Animation is top notch. The choreography looks good. The color scheme, the dialogue, the acting. Well, as animation can act, it's just a perfect movie. It's a great overall experience. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it yet. And yeah, we'll we'll end it on that note. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or any thoughts you'd like to share, you can reach me via the contact form on my website, or click on the contact me link in the show notes. If you're feeling extra generous, you can click on the donate link in the show notes and send some dollars my way. This show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 international license. This means you can share this audio or video, remix it, do whatever you want. Just say where you got it from. And as always, thank you for listening.